This is part 2 to the jackdaw taxidermy video. The exact same. I'm going to leave a link to this video in the description of the other video because basically my phone turned off, and if I've got this far, I'm not going to stop recording. Hopefully this is the last time this happens on this channel. Obviously I can't just edit the two videos together, so unfortunately I have to do it this way. Hopefully everyone gets to see this. I'm very sorry for this, for everyone, for this, the severe inconvenience caused. Now we've got the, oh yeah, we've got to do this. This is fiberglass wool, cotton will also work. This is what I have here. You just nicely pack that into the shape of the head. Now you can get your two artificial eyes. Again, you can buy these. I hand painted these, and they would go into the sockets where the bird, into basically where the bird's original eyes would be. So we'll go there. Get a jackdaw have a blue eye. Obviously, I'm not going to show you the eyeball, but I just took out of the bird. That would be extremely gruesome, and that would definitely get taken out of YouTube. And this video would definitely get taken down by YouTube people, because I did that. Does look very graphic. Hopefully, then again, put your eyes in. There's a bit of gunk on this side of the head, so I'll put some more borax, and the eye is merged directly in the borax, as you can see there. Now we have to invert this neck, as I showed you, as you've seen in part 1 of me taking the head off. So, yeah, this is the Taxidermy YouTube channel epic failure number 1. That's epic failure number 1. Let's hope this bird actually works out well. And that won't be such an epic fail, huh? Another thing, a great trick is if you can get see the way the eyes are like that, yeah? You can just put the bird and just the face skin to get the eye sockets. You sort of line it up and pop it over the skin where the skin first, instead of just rolling the neck and you start it works out a lot easier. And you have to try and find the beak through the tip of it here. There you go, you can see the beak in there poking out. So you have to try now and invert everything. Get a hold of that beak and just pull. Just gently work the bird. Again, the last thing I want to do is tear it after obtaining a wonderful specimen, putting in the materials for the mount, and just to ruin it is an absolute devastation. I've actually only ruined, I think, one that I couldn't save, that I can think of. I think there's a goldfinch good, a European goldfinch, for anyone who picks up on them. But quite actually a lot of them on the road this year, because of there was not a lot of verge cutting, so a lot of the plants actually went to seed. Their seeds, of course, the favourite food of our finches. That, of course, led to the death of a lot of goldfinches this year. And I picked a few of them up. Picked 3 up this year, I believe, and one of them I completely destroyed, because I went to skin it like I would any other bird, but their skin is extremely delicate, and I didn't actually know that at the time. And I unfortunately, they just came apart. But the second time I did it, I successfully did it, and I mounted it in flight. But that one was minced, like it had no legs and like a chunk of its body missing. But yeah, and then the third one I also did in flight, and put them both up on the wall, and they're probably one of my favourite mounts in the whole thing. They wouldn't even they'd be up there, my favourites, so they display very nicely. Same with wood pigeons, they're well worth the effort, and they're so common on Irish and UK roads, you know. I'm sure they're common in the UK, they're very common in Ireland, and things that seem to be common in Ireland are common in the UK, so I'm just going to assume that they're common on UK roads. For anyone in America and you want to know what a wood pigeon is, it's like a regular pigeon except much larger, and they're colourful. I have one in the freezer there, but I'm not going to go digging out birds every time I talk about one. That would be pretty neat. I just have them all lined up on the table. Every time I mention a bird, I just pick it up and go, oh, this is what I'm talking about, by the way, folks. I haven't even mentioned Australian people. I've mentioned the US people a lot. Well, there's the bird's head. There you go, flip the right way around now. I'm going to have to set the eyes. I'm not going to worry about just now. Now, see, the next thing is, see the way the mouth is kind of, I like the word blooded up. See, hitting the head, a bit of the blood gone down into the mouth. That's not the best. Just a bit of borax into the gob like that. That'll tidy that up and it can dry out and make sure you don't get any more messiness. Now I'm going to stuff the more fiberglass wool in there because I feel the head isn't stuck enough. And then we're going to get on to the wings, the legs, and the final process then afterwards. So we're going to have to lost the fiberglass wool there as well. Now, because sometimes when you pull it through and the skull isn't intact, like in this case, the actual fiberglass wool doesn't go into the head, and it just stays in the neck. Therefore, you're left with lumps in the neck and a misshapen bird's head. And you know, it's not good because you want your taxidermy to be as accurate as you possibly can. Like I'm gonna try and aim for this jackdaw to look like as close to a live jackdaw actually as I can possibly get it to look. So, not a very easy challenge. You're looking at it now like this, you know, all flopping around. More borax on the eye. Accidentally put it on it, but look, that'll do. Borax is great at preserving things. It's amazing how it will preserve a bird. And it also keeps insects away, so that's another benefit. We fix the eyes up later, we can get the idea of it like that. So that's the bird. That's the bird's head. Hopefully you understood that. So just stuff the bird's head with bone, with wool, and invert it. In this case, just the back of the bird doesn't have a skull. I had to put extra foam in there to make up for the room that the skull would have taken up. So you can see the head is solid and the right shape. Now we work on I'm going to do the legs first because they're easier to show. Get your drumstick that you cut off previously as shown in part 1. Go up, twist, go, skin, down, so. This only goes so far. This out. Yeah, nice. I'm going to try and get this out. It's not working in this case, so we're just going to have to cut it off here. I guess. Not. Just really careful with this because this is where it will rip around, you know, the ankle. Now we're going to get it out. If you can just snap it like that, oftentimes if you just dislocate the ankle bone and you twist it, it'll often pop out of the socket and you can get it out perfectly. Because it's much better if you can get the drumstick, the bone that's connected to the ankle bone out completely, because it makes the wiring the legs much easier, and you'll see that in the next step. Yeah, again, I'm really sorry folks, this is a 2-part video, because as I said, it's due to my own error, and I just want this video now because I did it out there, so I'm going to be pissed off if I don't get a video out of it now. You can see there. Oh yeah, by the way, I just nicked the tendon there that are holding the legs in together. There's your jackdaw drumstick. Not eating that, obviously. Pull the borax onto the leg itself. This is what we took out. Just look for any other pieces of meat like that are still attached to it. There we go. Put it all over the leg. Make sure that the leg is completely covered in borax. And then just put it through. Completely like so. Yeah, it is the exact same way as it was, except without the skin. Or no, the meat, sorry. Now you go to the other leg, you do the exact same thing. Take it, pull the leg from the drumstick. Exactly pretty much what we're doing to the skull, except on a much smaller level. You find that with jackdaws, it gets kind of hard towards the ankle bone with some other birds it doesn't. Blackbirds. Sorry, I'm using blackbird as an example for everything. It's just that I do a lot of blackbirds. I've done a lot of them this year, and they're quite easy to do. I find like their skin doesn't rip, and they're easy enough to pose when they're finished. Because you'll see that is actually quite a challenging part, is actually to try and pose the bird and make it look right against. There you can see we just peel it right down to the joint. So there's the joint of the leg. So go like that, and that's where the bird's talons are on the bottom of that. You know, just get your scalpel blade, cut, and you just get it out at that at an angle. There goes the little connector bone, and that's what's connecting to the that's what connects to this bone. So you can just dislocate that, pop it all out, get quite a nice thing out of it. Look for the borax out of that. Well, you can't have too much borax on these really. There you go, done. That's it, done, preserved. Now, see this is the back of the bird. This here, we're going to throw some borax just all over that as well. Put the bird on its back, just get the borax and just throw that in there. And you just swish it around with your hand. Put the bird on its back on the newspaper like that. Just with your hand, rub the borax into the skin all over, make sure that every little crevice and everything is completely covered by the borax. That is a very important part of this. While we're on the back, I'm going to work on the tail real quick. Get that, push it up. You will see something like that. There's the meat of there's the tail meat. There's the last few vertebrae. And you can just peel that, and you can see there's a yellow oil gland. I'm just going to expose that a little bit better, show it all to you, and then remove it. Borax up the tail. Then we'll get onto the wings, and then we'll wire the whole thing up. And we'll stick it on the, make the mannequin for it, and then we'll get her mounted up. There's the oil gland, there's the tailbone. Scalpel. In along these are the tail feathers here, I believe. So, just see if we can get rid of everything. Don't cut off the tail feathers, obviously. They can be reattached, but why reattach something if you don't have to detach it in the first place? Just give it a bit of support. There goes a bit of meat. The oil gland can be cut off at an angle, like so. Scrape all that oil off. Now you can see it's not completely removed. As you can see, there's a lot less meat on that now than there was. Just a little bit, and then the bases of the tail feathers. Now you get a lot of borax on the tail. Because again, you want this to set, remember, so you want a lot of borax in that. And again, that meat will help the tail feathers set in there like that. Invert the tail. Yeah, put the way it should be. Keep your finger in there. Make it all perfectly. Here's the back of the bird. Here's your basically skinned out jackdaw completely. It's all on limp. Now we do the wings. Don't shouldn't be taking too long either. You can always, if you're doing this at home, you can always put on some music or something like that back there. Or you can start a YouTube channel and talk to the camera. I kind of like sharing my experiences. I like doing YouTube, to be honest. It's just an entertaining thing to do. Yeah, this is the taxidermy channel now. Might do some other animals, like some insect pinning on this channel as well. There's so many hobbies, and putting it all on one YouTube channel just didn't seem the right idea, because people who are interested in insects wouldn't be interested in taxidermy. So, fair to have a few nice different channels. Again, this video is see, I didn't show that, did I really? I just skinned the wing. I basically took all the skin and I just pulled it back down and made sure that I didn't damage the flight feathers. There's quills from the secondary flight feathers, and they attach to this bone here. So you separate them down with your finger. Now you'll see that the wing muscle is made out of tendons. It's connected to tendons. Now you want to get your, this is where I sort of do it my own way. Get every single one of these and you cut it off. That little sinew goes off. Every little piece of it will come off like that. Eventually, look. Right. There's one. See if we can get most in there. This one. There's two. Oh no, there's three. It's four taken off it now so far. You can see the bones are starting to become much barer. You get a great, if you're in school and you're watching these videos, you'll get a great knowledge of like anatomy if you're doing biology. Great for anatomical studies, dissecting. They're just better in dissection. You're not just, You're not just killing a frog or a rat just to look at its organs. You're using something that has been killed, and instead of it rotting. And by the way, I get that body, and that body will go into a field, and it will be eaten by a fox or a other bird. Probably a fox up at night now, and it won't last the night out there. Like that great blackback gull, I threw that over there, and I didn't know what was. I was wondering if it would get eaten. Yeah, the first night I put it out there, the next morning it was gone. That was a nice bird. Surprising how little there is to a bird. That's a jackdaw. They're small. They're all feathers, you know. If you think of jackdaw, you know. No, this is quail. It's more than a quail. So again, with the other bone again, just remove just remove all the meat off the bone, pretty much, like so, until you're just left with the bone. Now the joint, you do not want to split this joint because this is all forms your mount. So that there is your cleaned bone. You have your wing over here. So I'll show you now. There's your wing. There's your bone. This here is quite important. So again, your borax, just rub that into it. Borax is non-toxic, non-harmful, by the way, so you don't need it. Only wear gloves on animals that carry it. You can wear gloves on all animals. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I only wear gloves on animals that sort of are diseased or if they're rotten. A lot sometimes I wear gloves on them, or if it's a species that I don't exactly want to handle with bare hands, like a bat, which I also have found on the side of the road. There we go. So again, I'm just rubbing the borax into that joint because I want that joint to dry. Now, what I'm going to do with that in my ass, see this wire here? I'll get my snips and cut it at an angle. About 4 inches. 12 centimeters. Something like that. Right, then you twist it in. You'll find it will stick. Eventually it won't come out like that. Then what you do is, since this whole thing is completely covered in borax, you get the wing tip and you pull, and the wing will actually completely pull through and it will close like that. And since you're doing it sitting out, there's your wing shape. You don't need a wire around it. Look, perfect. Like nature is perfect. You look at a bird, you're not going to see any weird looking birds. Well, you do, but my point is that nature, it's all the bird goes together naturally. So if you can use as much of the bird, basically, if you want a good bird shape, the best thing to use for a good bird shape is a bird skeleton, because that's what keeps birds together. Or else it'd be jellyfish, you know. So again, just same thing. Get the I'm using the bone here to skin it down, but and the same thing. Just with your fingers, just put pressure. You should be able to. Yeah, you go. You should be able to just free up the wing feathers as calm down like that. Take it off because that's going to be a hard rustling noise in the camera. I just realised that. Probably messed up the entire video, didn't I? Now bugger. Just do it there. Oh god. There's a little bit of blood. Hitting the wing as well, you know. No broken wing bones, which is great. If the wing bones are broken, it can be harder to put them back together. But the place where they have two bones, there's a bigger bone and a smaller bone, and I've had a roadkill bird where this bone here broken, but the top bone isn't broken. And I actually managed to mount the bird just using a little tiny thin bone above the wing, and it's held up shape absolutely perfectly. Again, we're cutting off the tendons here, and we're just cleaning off the wing bones again. I'll show you my wiring trick that I have not seen anybody else use, and I haven't watched any taxidermy YouTube. I've watched some of them, but I don't usually watch the whole thing. But I haven't seen anyone do just exactly what I did there, with sticking the wire into the wing. If someone else did do that, please contact me, because I'm sure I'm not the first person to just think of that. Everything so far that I thought of first, somebody has already thought of before. So unfortunately, I've yet to discover something new. Maybe I haven't, but maybe I have already. Yeah, I'm actually kind of a quiet person. But it's just nice to chat. There you go. Put a bit of borax right on the joint of the bird. This down, and then on the bone, in the bone, just to see if we can preserve any of that. There's actually nothing in the bone, completely hollow. The bird, hollow bone thing. So there goes the wire again. The pointy end on one end to stick into the joint, so straight into the insect. Now eating my jackdaw. So that's it, and that's all wings borax up as well. So that's completely skinned, and the wings are wired. So this here is the skinned jackdaw, completely skinned. Wings are wired, and the head has been preserved. I'm guessing what it's called that. Now, also it has been boraxed up completely on the inside. As you seen, I threw in the borax and I switched it around. The borax has soaked into it. So now, next step, we wire the leg. You get your other wires, straighten them out, cut a sharp point on them. These snips here. It's a really sharp point because you want to pierce the bird. You want the wire to pierce up through the bird real quickly and easily. Then you feed, and you get the wire. Move the bird over here so you can see what I'm doing. And you find the bird on the inside. Sometimes it works better on the outside, sometimes it works better on the inside. We'll try on the inside first today. There you go. Just have to try and find it. It's kind of hard because you're trying to get the wire through that joint, and it has to come out not through the skin but underneath the skin on the leg. There you go. So watch the wire. Good. See that? Push the wire through. Pull the bird. There you go. With the wire, that's one leg completely wired. Ready to rock. And we find our second wire on the floor. Brother. Where you want to cut. There you go. Again, same thing. Sharp point. My little taxidermy room. It's a great thing to do that. In the evenings, you know, especially in the winter now, bugger all to do. Get started at like 5 o'clock. So what are you going to be doing? You're just going to sit around and host watching TV and eating snacks. Or be out here working on taxidermy projects. Or if your parents are really chill, you could probably just sit in their living room, watch TV while doing taxidermy. That would be very hygienic. Try and get the wire through. This does take a little bit of force. This is so you just put the wire. This time the wire passed straight through the foot. I tried it through the top of the foot instead of underneath it. And in my attempt to try and fix it, I pulled a bit too hard, and the wire completely came out, undoing everything that I fought to achieve. So there is a little bit of a ow. This is just getting a bit fidgety now. This is not the easiest thing to do. This is probably one of the hardest. And again, just through the bottom of the foot. Where's that wire go? Please pass through the bottom of the foot, please. Yeah, perfect. like that. Job done. Now, fully wired jackdaw. What next? Well, this is where the foam comes into play. This piece here, in fact. This here is a jackdaw body. Now I need to make a body for this out of this. I'm going to spare you the extremely lengthy process of me doing that. I'll just carve it out with the mark it out with the scalpel. And so, now we'll get to work. I'll be back once the body is carved. There's the body made. I got that out of the foam, I carved it with the hacksaw. So now, this is the original body and there's the foam body, as you can see there. This one here is just a little bit fatter because this bird is quite skinny and I want to I don't want it looking thin, you know. You want your mount looking as healthy as you possibly can, you know. You don't want a diseased looking bird on a shelf. You want someone to, again, just going to put the bird just so you can see it on my lap like so. I need to carve the head wire. I need to shape the head wire real quick for it. Actually, it's not going to be the best wire to use. I just cut myself with copper and I was warned that's a very bad thing to do. There's a bit of wire on the floor. I think this wire will be very heavy. That will make the bird a bit front heavy. Okay. We're going to try it. Could make the bird very front heavy though, and that's not something I really want. But it's better to have a heavier wire in the head because it will hold the bird's posture a bit. No? Generally a heavier head wire is better than having a light one because the head itself is kind of really heavy. You just untangle the head like so, run the wire up the neck, and it should just pop out the top of the head. You get it alright. This bird doesn't have much of a skull. So now what you do is you have to get your wings that you have previously stuck the little wire in the bones of. Remember? I'm actually going to turn these down a bit because you'll see this, it's actually much easier when you're doing it because you'll see almost what you have to do. Do you know what I mean? So we just attach it in like so. This is just the wing wire, by the way. I've just stuck that in the foam so as you can see it's holding the wing. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side with the other wing wire. Like that. So I just took a piece off the tip of the wire. So I'm just trying to really give a great detailed description of what I'm actually doing. So now I'm putting in the second wing wire into the foam. Now we have sort of both wings are held by the foam block, like so. Now we're going to have to get the legs. And we're going to sharpen them because this foam is very dense and it doesn't exactly what you call it, exactly, you know yourself. It's hard to pierce with a wire. That's what I said. I couldn't even think of the bloody word. Now, on the other side, just keep your head out of the way so you don't hit the guy with a flying piece of wire. In. So, pop it in. You should be able to pull the skin over the foam. Show that now. The reason our skin is decided to have rolled up under the foam instead of being over the foam. There you go. You loosen up your finger. Have to loosen up your fingers. Maybe the foam is just a bit. Maybe just a little bit of minor adjustments just to get it perfectly. Oh, never mind. There you go. There's a foam body in the bird there now. So you can see she's coming together very nicely now. There you go. Nice gentle tugs. And he never does any harm. It's just the great thing with this is care. Just take great care. Be real careful. Take your time. Don't rush. Don't don't get it. And also, if you're feeling a bit tired or you're just feeling a bit, for whatever reason, just what's the word? In a rush, just don't just give up. Put it in the freezer. Come back to it another day. Just don't, because you'll ruin the specimen. I just have a bit of a sharp corner here that needs to be a bit shaved off a little bit more, because it just allows the skin to slip over the form a little bit. Just the corner is just a little bit, just the edge is just a little bit too like at an angle, and it'll make the bird look like it's a box. You don't want a box jackdaw. You want a regular jackdaw. That put the corner, makes the bird look a little bit rounder and again more natural. Now we're ready to stitch it up. So as you can see, the skin, it fits very nicely over that full body. So now we're going to get our needle and addition line and start to stitch it up. Get what you need. Obviously, always start with the knot on the inside of the the inside of the skin. So you're going to tie the loop. You're tying a loop into the end of the line. And it's a running stitch all the way down to the. I know some people don't do it this way. I just do it this way. One stitch all the way down to the tail, and snip it off between the legs. Oh yeah, another little trick as well that I want to show is that I will show. How? Yeah, get a piece of wire, bend it like that, just in the back of the bird here. Yeah, just insert that like so. So look, the wire staple goes in like that. Yeah, that then will go up in the bird's tail. Will sit on that. There's just a do that really quick. Now you want to go in here. I always start at the top. You can start at the bottom if you want. Now go up the tip. We go end inside. Again, you want to be careful that the feathers aren't being caught with the stitches, because that will lead to an ugly result. When the feathers are matted, they'll appear all matted. And you don't want a matted looking bird, you know. Then you want your taxidermy to look as nice as you possibly can. That's the so you know. And this is a mount, so you're not exactly, someone thinks it's a stuffed bird. It's not really stuffed, because it's mounted. As you can see, I'm mounting it over the foam body. I mean, I stuffed the neck of it. I'll stuff fish, whereas I'll get fiber, or I'll get wool, and I'll get it and I'll stuff it into them. They'd be stuffed, but this bird is mounted. Mounted over from a fiberglass. I've mounted over some, not even fiberglass. Call it a nice mold. That I made with it. Not really a mold, it's a shape. Body form, that's what the correct word would be. And again, just a nice, simple running stitch up the length of the body. So, there's no real, again, all the time making sure you keep the feathers like this, off the bird. You see them like that? So you're stitching under the feathers, not over the feathers or through the feathers. You want the bird to come together perfectly in the end, You should be able to get the bird in. Should be able to get this down pretty well. There you go. Again, same thing as you can see. Also, I always stitch from the inside, so going in from like the underside of the skin up and fluffing out the feathers. Then when we get between the legs, we just tie off. Nope, this is probably around here. One more stitch, just to get the vent area closed up, and get that nice and tight. I'll make the hole. I'll just pull out like that. Just as you pull on it, picks up the feathers, and they will. You got some feathers going the wrong way here. We'll see what that is in a sec. Here I go in and I tie a knot right at the base of it. I'm going to see if I can just go in here one more time and tie a knot. Like that. And as you tie that knot, the knot will slip there, like so. And that knot is now tight to the skin of the bird inside. You want to cut it off, cut the line underneath the layer of feathers so it's invisible. That as the bird stitched up. Now you prepare the bird for mounting. In this case, it's going to be a piece of bark. I don't have the drill with me today. I'm just going to drill out 2 holes into the piece of bark with my scalpel blade. Will drill? Yes, it will. I knew it would drill. And a nail or screw is also very good job for this. 1 hole. So again, this is just simple things you can do at home. Do you know what I mean? Like all you need really, especially the borax. Like there's any amount of dead birds on the side of the road. As you will see from watching this channel, I collect quite a lot of them, unfortunately. That's the unfortunate way of the world, you know. You don't all make it, especially in their first year, you know. It's kind of hard with jackdaws right now to tell because they're changed colour, or their eyes have changed colour. But yeah, you'll see a lot of young fledgling jackdaws hit on the side of the road. The other thing is just push the legs in a bit so they're like this. And just pick them up just at the right angle. So yeah, that's actually free swinging. Not very good. Very bad. There you go. And always fix up a free swinging bird leg. You take your time with it, you mean? You've worked on this so hard. Now you get to this stage here. Put the legs through the holes in the piece of bark. Or any other item. It could be foam. It could be a foam base. It could be the bird could be in flight. It could be mounting jackdaw in flight. It could be doing anything. I'm just saying, for what I'm doing now, this is the ideal thing. Is with a foam base, and then just clip the wires down like that. And just clip this wire onto the foam, onto the bark. Just drill it and cut it off. It's not going to be visible when the bird is done. And hide the wire as well, you know, as you don't want the wires to be visible. Yeah, lads, I know a lot of girls actually like taxidermy as well. Right, it's a great art to get it. So yeah, basically like that. Of course, obviously it's going to keep falling over now because it's disbalanced, it's not mounted correctly, and you will actually have to balance it out. Is that hard? Yeah, kind of. Now, one thing I will need to look at is reference pictures. Even though I see hundreds of them every day. That's the one thing is reference pictures. That's pictures of the bird that you're working on, the animal that you're working on. You need to look at them, or else you'll just mess up. Seeing enough jackdaws, so we'll try and do the jackdaw freehand, but ordinarily I'd recommend that you look at reference pictures. Just because I see so many jackdaws, I should be able to do it. See, this thing's it's falling forward. That means you have to. The legs aren't actually set back far enough. Because birds, they sit and their legs are like this. There you go. See it? So this is why I do that with the wings. Because the wings are always in the right shape. Fortunately, I can't do that. I can't leave the bones in my legs because I'm going to be able to wire the bird. So we'll start to see it. We're starting to see a bit of shape here now. There you go. I should start to stand soon. Nope, still falling forward. Good. Never stops falling forward. There you go. We get it up. We get it nicely done. Pop it a little bit forward. Just need to balance that out. It will balance out. The time jackdaws sort of stand. Again, also the thing with animals is you want to work on, you know, different animals have different postures. So that's the bark there. Jackdaw doesn't sit like that. Jackdaw will sit. They sit proud. jackdaw will be up more like this, and the legs forward, back, forward. Bird will be more like that sort of, and that should stand. You can put some on. Yeah, it does. That there is the bird. It's freestanding now. Now I have to work on the wings. They go in like that. The wing wires they clip in. All clip into place. Then you have to crane the wings into the right shape. They go up above the. There's of course some birds they hold their wings under their tail. Blackbirds, wrens, robins. In some instances. Some birds never do. Jackdaws never would. So you're starting to get the gist of it now. It's starting to look like a bird again. And this is where, so that there, look, that looks nice. It looks right to the eye. So this is correct. So now what we're going to do is we're going to tape that in that position. Make a bit of yellow masking tape, which will be completely lost away, by the way. Wipe it off. Now, you just have to also make sure that all the wing feathers are in the correct order and that the bird looks and that the proportions are anatomically correct. Anatomical correctness is hugely important in this type of taxidermy. There you go. As you can see that the wing there, like that looks right to the eye. The bird looks right. Because you actually, especially if it's a common bird, your eyes will tell you if you messed up. Because if it looks wrong, it means you did mess up. Like if I was to mount this jackdaw, right, sitting like a wren, with the tail cocked up here, and slouched, it would look completely off. And if I was to mount a wren, Eurasian wren that is, sitting like this jackdaw, with the wings neatly folded and the tail underneath, like that, it would look stupid as well. Because they're not meant to be like that. See, it's a crazy thing. And you're trying to figure out exactly how every bird, so every bird pretty much, so some families of birds, you know, their whole family will sit in a certain way, but usually birds are just, every species you need to, the wings will cross over, like so, and the elbow here seems to slip down a bit, so you need to fix that with a little bit of tape, just to stop the wing from slipping down. Got one wing to stop drooping, then you get the second one. The back here, the feathers here on the back have to overlap perfectly so that there's no gaps and no lines. Because again, that all makes your taxidermy look ugly. You don't want ugly taxidermy, you know what I mean? Like there's that bad taxidermy. That's how bad taxidermy happens. Is people don't look at the detail of the animals they're working on. There you go. We're starting to get somewhere now. And that's how bad taxidermy happens. Is people don't look at the details of the animals they're working on. And it's not that hard. Taxidermy, it's not that hard. When you get a few mounts down, you get a feel for it. That's the thing. You just start to feel what's right, what's wrong. If you're doing something wrong, you know, you'll start to feel it. And I'm just trying to fluff out the chest for anyone who doesn't know, or for wondering what I'm doing now. Just fluffing out the chest, as you can see, nice little flank feathers like that. They'd come out and they'd cover the chest, and they make the jackdaws. They make the jackdaws look comfy in the winter. And that's what gives the birds that, you know, fluffy look in the winter. Is the chest feathers will actually fluff out and they'll cover the wings, like so. And see, Mr. Jackdaw is starting to come together. Obviously, he's not 100% yet. He's getting there. We'll be getting there now, eh? So. By the way, this borax, it completely preserves the bird forever. So this is a great hobby. If you get, say if you're inheriting a house, you can get this hobby and you can have your mount all your life. You can teach pass the art down to your children, and then let them inherit their mounts as well. And you can put these into your family. Like this jackdaw, I hope maybe to think this jackdaw would stay in my family for years to come, you know. So something, you know, to work on that, you know, you put a few hours into. So therefore, like the hours that go into, you know, preening the feathers, they're all worth it in the end, because this is something that's it's gonna last a lifetime. more than one lifetime. Who knows where this jackdaw might end up? Might end up in a museum. Might be like the passenger. Like, pray to God it's not going to end up like the passenger pigeon, you know? Holy hell, you know? Very numerous bird went extinct. Don't want that story to repeat itself, do we? Christ, man. The last thing we really want. There's enough wildlife as it is. There's one, you know what I mean? That's another one lost. Think about it, like, I mean, I know it's a jackdaw, it's not exactly the rarest of creatures. And people shoot them. Never see people shoot jackdaw. They don't. They're an insect-eating bird. I know they eat grain, and farmers are shooting because they're eating their grain. Like, I mean, that really, they're such a wonderful bird, you know. Look, people need to eat, don't they? Cattle need to eat. Unfortunately, man chooses livestock and crops over wildlife. Understandable, but it is a solid, hard-core fact. We're losing our jackdaw in the picture. I'm quite happy with this. You can imagine. Always makes me happy when I achieve an art. Yes, my grading just so far now with the B. Put together in this way. I don't know why, but the back looks a bit off to me. Nice looking jackdaw. They have to be cone shaped. They're a cone shaped bird. See that? Very important to nail that curve. Very important. Now I struggle with this. This is the hardest thing that I found with jackdaws. Is trying to nail the curve of this. For any bird, really. Let's do a rook next. I'll film a rook. If you get an adult rook specimen, it wouldn't be. They're nice. They're lovely birds. It'd be nice to have a corvid shell. I have a magpie. I did a video. I might do a room tour and I filmed a lovely thing that I made of roadkill magpies. It's a magpie feeding two fledglings, rather, and it looks. I'm happy with how it came out. There's that there jackdaw there. Basic jackdaw shape. So we're just going to touch it up to make it a little bit more, just a little bit more presentable, you know. That there really could tighten it a bit more. Always very important to just stand back from the mount. Do it. Stand back. Look at it. You know what I mean? There you go. I'm happier with that now. Yeah, the head is a bit wrong. No, you left it straight. So you can always just turn the head to the side like that. I think it looks nicer. That's just done, to be honest. Adjust the eye. Going in from the inside of the mouth, that just gives you a bit more leverage on the eye. Leverage. You can put a lot more pressure behind that eyeball. I'm trying to say to you, and you can press it, and you can press it. What you need to get a little bit of tape on the beak as it dries. You want it to dry shut, obviously. You want it to be gaping. Unless, of course, you're doing a chick begging for food off its parents, then you're doing the exact opposite. You want the bird's mouth to be, you want the bird's mouth to be open. Now that eye is actually nicer. Turn the bird head this way. Looking up the side angle. Fix it up. Yeah, everything. Again, it's got a broken skull, so you have to play with that a bit. Just like that. Pull that just a bit straight out, I feel. There we go. Not nice. What did that take? 2 hours? Less? Just a little bit over an hour and a half. We managed to do a jackdaw in an hour and a half. Well, pretty much real time as well. So we go through the process step by step. And that's jackdaw. Nearly done. Just gonna touch it up a little bit more. Let's get the wings in. As you can see, they're sort of sturdy. The arms, they sort of stick out from the body a bit. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I like them to be tight against the body. Nope. So, the inside looking good. The underside looks good. The scalloping on the tail, nice. Never really remarked that before. Jackdaws. That's where the tape is so important. As you can see, still strips of tape. Just put a bit of shape up on the bird, and to shape up the bird and make it look a bit more alive. There you go. Give them a little bit of fluffing underneath. And just keep playing with it until it's perfect, you know what I mean? This jackdaw is nearly there now. Just keep fluffing it, keep fluffing it, keep fluffing it. There you go. See the way the chest shape is coming out now? That's exactly what you want. You don't want a bird, that looks real flat and squashed. And then sorry, even hit by a car. And you want it to look like it before it got hit by a car. Not after. Unless of course you're doing like scavengers eating roadkill or something like that, then you would want a mounted bird that looks like roadkill. Which would be a challenge in itself. Good challenge. I'll start doing them when I get a bit better. Look at this, just those legs. They're all looking good. That's us done. Best luck, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're still watching this, well done to you. This is very nice. Thanks everyone very much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will be back soon with you. All the best. Have a great day, night, morning, or evening.